So here we are again in my favourite little field, and whilst I'm having a peruse around, just going to be speaking about the YouTube comment censoring thing that the whole world is experiencing. So whilst I was looking at how to unhide certain viewers from my channel, I came upon videos pertaining to why comments are being disappeared. And it is bizarre. There really is different levels of consciousness and awareness, because I watched 4 of these videos, and there wasn't any of them which could state that they knew why it was happening. In actual fact, 2 out of the 4 were vociferously proclaiming that they had no idea, absolutely no idea why YouTube is doing this. Well, what world do they live in? I don't know what world they live in, people. Look, if they knew a little bit about propaganda and free enterprise, then they would put 2 and 2 together. And they live in a world which has become very woke. And so you'd start thinking, well, what if the owner of YouTube is woke? Then wouldn't it stand to reason that that owner will be imposing all of their ideology onto the channel? And if that was the case, then because it's a private business, they are entitled to do that. And the whole reach of YouTube all over the world would come under their ideology. And then, if they have a particular view on certain wars around the world, certain religions, certain creeds, certain genders, and all this sort of thing, if they have opinions on those things, then they are going to be impressing upon the whole of their reach, aren't they? And so of course that's exactly what's being done, people. And also, you see, when you've got companies which are so massive and so potentially powerful, they get infiltrated. They get infiltrated by big business. They get infiltrated by powerful people, by nations. And so that also is what's happening. And Zuckerberg, he was in Congress pretty recently, and he was in Congress. Well, he's been in Congress a lot, being investigated for stealing people's data and all this different sort of stuff. But what he said in a recent video that I saw, I saw one of his statements which he wrote, which somebody made a video about, and it said that during COVID he was massively compromised as to what he should allow on his what do you call it? What do you call Facebook's new thing? Meta. What he should allow on Meta. And he complied because, people weren't sure at the time. It could be real and people could be dying. But with the advent of time passing by and a lot more information coming out, he increased the value of his judgment by doing some research, and he determined that he was beguiled, and he stated that he wouldn't allow that to happen again. And I don't know what circumstances he was thinking that it could happen again, but he decided that he was going to keep his channel free. But the owner of YouTube obviously has a different opinion. And so when your comments are disappeared, it would be because you said something which goes against the political vein of their objective. For instance, look, the globalists have this massive power and this reach, and the globalists are implementing all of this liberalist woke thing, aren't they? And so when they compromise big business, then the big businesses come under their yoke, and so then they carry out all of the globalist work. So if the globalists want certain things to happen, or don't want certain things to happen, then anyone with an opinion against theirs, of course, is going to be compromised. So can you imagine? It could be about the LGBT thing, it could be about the war in Ukraine, it could be about the war in Israel and with the Palestinians, it could be about a whole bunch of things. It could be about the influx of swarthy skinned people coming into the whole of Europe, all these sorts of things, people. If you say something with those words in your sentence, then the algorithms will flag them. And one person that I was listening to, trying to work out what YouTube is doing, the only sensible person that I could find, some old guy, and he was saying somebody with a very prominent channel, it was about metal detecting, for old stuff. And at the end of his comments, he used to say "Happy hunting," and so his comments were disappearing all the time. Every time he used that phrase, and so this guy is speculating that the algorithm has flagged that because, well, first and foremost, they don't like hunting. Hunting isn't the thing with woke people, but also HH, happy hunting, could also be interpreted by the algorithm as Heil Hitler. And so it really is getting this bizarre because they're not taking any chances. The algorithms are set up not to take any chances. And so if any of you have got YouTube channels and you have had your videos taken down and then you appealed against it, sometimes they'll say, yeah, our algorithms were wrong, and they'll reinstate your video. But most times, of course, they won't. And they won't give you a reason why, because they don't want you to know that they are super woke and they're protecting this, that and the other, and they're working for the globalists and all the rest of it. So what I will say is when you're putting comments down, and if you get frustrated that your comments are always being disappeared and you don't want to comment anymore, you've just got to be a bit more stealthy, people. You've got to bear in mind that anything remotely to do with religion, if it's on one side, I can get away with saying absolutely anything about Christians. You know that. You absolutely cannot say a single thing about Muslims. If you say something about Muslims, people are going to jail for 2 or 3 years just for commenting on social media. So obviously you're not going to be able to get away with anything like that. If you start saying things about people coming into the country beginning with I am, then that comment will be disappeared because they don't want you speaking about that. That's their policy. They're doing it. They don't give a fuck about what you say, and if you say anything about it, then your comments will be disappeared, and maybe at one stage, important people will be disappeared. Now, just let me tell you about this with an extreme. Julian Assange, right? It is out the bag that the CIA, Pompeo, the head of the CIA at the time, he put an order out to assassinate Julian Assange. That's documented, people. So when the CIA can order or at least speak about the assassination of someone who hadn't even had a conviction. Julian Assange had never had his case heard. He wasn't a convict. He'd never been convicted of anything, and yet the CIA take it upon themselves as God to assassinate people because they don't like what people are saying. That's the world we're in, people. I think we've always been in this world, but it's more obvious now because we're privy to more information. information, and you know, information spreads like wildfire. So you know, when you're writing your comments, just reinvent your own way of spelling a particular word. I mean, for instance, look, if someone are going to say M-U-S-L-I-M, then you go M-O-O-Z-L-I-M. You see, it's just something like that, and then people are going to know what you're inferring, and that will get by the algorithms. So it was interesting to know that the whole world is in uproar about what YouTube are doing. But you see, it's all an evolutionary thing. They are trying to work out with their algorithms, you know, how to block this and how to block that without blocking, you know, too many other people, without spoiling the platform, without forcing people to go onto other platforms and this, that and the other. YouTube is a work in progress, and the human being is a work in progress, and the levels of propaganda is a work in progress. The levels of free speech, the levels of hate speech, and all this different sorts of stuff, it's all a work in progress, and we're going to go up, we're going to go down, we're going to go forward, we're going to go backwards, depending on what manipulative powers are in a position of power at any given time. You know, things, of course, under Biden will be very different than they are under Trump. And so we have to deal with this on an ongoing basis. You know, potentially every 4 years, the whole world is going to turn upside down. It's ridiculous. But humanity hasn't really worked out any better way of doing things, it would appear. So anyway, people, leave you with that. I'm going to concentrate on the job in hand.